Wait a minute.
Now we are.
When you think you're live and you didn't click go live. Good afternoon, everybody. Audrey here with Skylar. Say hello, Skylar.
Hi.
Tell us your job here at First Direct with National List Services.
My job title is marketing assistant, but I do a lot of other things as well, like content creation and help with support and data, all of it.
Exactly. I was going to point that out. Here at the office, we all wear a few different hats just so we all know different aspects of everybody's job. We don't have to do that job, but it's good to know it. So when Skylar started out, one of her jobs was support, which is our team running your list. If you're not using the site and building your own, we can help you get started and build a list for you. I actually just got a phone call with somebody who called a cold call and needs a list. I should run it for this, but we committed to showing you about 2- and 3-dimensional reports. So we are going to jump into it. Let me clear my search page because I was kind of working on this ahead of time, different options. We usually try to share something that has come up during the week. And by Thursday, when we do our live, there's plenty of options. So one of my clients had a request for archaeologists. So I'm going to shoot out one funny question to you to start with. How do you spell archaeology? And I asked Skylar earlier. Skylar, go for it.
I feel like I should almost write it down. A-R-C-A-E?
C-H-A-E, yeah. So the most common spelling, and I just Googled this because, of course, Google is my friend. I Googled, how do you spell archaeology? And there is an article that pulled up, why are there 2 different spellings? So I should post this in the chat. Let me go over to the chat. If Audrey can, here we go. Here's the chat. I'm going to post both ways it's spelled because this cracks me up. I can't spell to start with. And on the last live I did, I even called myself out. I was putting something in the chat and I asked, did I spell that right to my audience? And it was probably 30 to 45 people. And I had one guy shaking his head, yes. I'm like, good, I got it. Because sometimes I just don't got it. So here we go. How do you spell it? Either way is acceptable. So my client emailed in A-R-C-H-E. And then when we sent back totals, he's like, so if we spell it differently, do we get more totals? I'm like, no. This is how it's spelled. So it was I was glad that he pointed it out because I thought, did we make an error? And it was just kind of comical. But I'm going to share my national list count screen, and I'm going to get into my count to start with. Here we go. So let's share the screen, see if I can do this. After so many weeks, you'd think it'd be old hat, but it really isn't. Here, let's share the window. Here we go. Share.
There we go. I can see it.
Perfect. And Skylar, if you want, I can take you out of here for now if you don't want, so that I can, it's up to you.
I like to keep learning about it too.
Perfect. So here at National List Counts, I started with DMB. So we have, a few weeks ago I covered this, we have 4 different business sites and each offers different advantages and benefits. So my go-to is DMB. And I appreciate right now, one of our support team members, Taylor, her go-to is Data Axle. And she usually is spot on and she can find things that there was one search we were both doing and I said, I can't find it. She goes, I got it. And I'm like, really? So having a multitude of counselors and options are excellent. So here on National List Counts, I started my list and I picked nationwide because how many archaeologists do you think there are nationwide? So we started with that, cast our net wide. And then on SIC code, I went over here. So when you go to SIC code, you can do a lookup. This is usually where I start. I either look at the tree where it's a breakdown of 2-digit SIC codes and you can drill down to an 8-digit. I'll share that in a moment. Or you can type it in. As you can see here, I typed it in, I got nothing. So my next idea was, where do archaeologists work? And so I was like, okay, universities, and I thought mostly museums because that's what we see on TV. I'm not sure if that's true, so I ran a count to find out. So under the business tree code, I knew museums, they're toward the bottom. I went and picked museums, art galleries, and with those come botanical and zoological gardens, so zoos. But I'm going to push plus and not pick just the 2-digit. For our example today, I'm going to drill down into here. And the reason I'm doing that is it's going to break it down by these SIC codes. And I'm going to skip the aquariums and botanical. I'm going to stick with mostly the museums here. And you'll see there's 2 for museums and art galleries. The NEC is not otherwise categorized. I'm sure there's an actual NEC word, but I'm going to pick all of those. Planetarium, that'd be good. Okay, so let's drill down and grab the full digit. So I'm going to add these SIC codes. Please always note, if there is an add button, you have to click it to get your selections saved. And you'll see my SIC codes went from 2 to 4 when I did that. Otherwise, you don't add them and then they're not there. I'm going to pick primary SIC codes because I want that first one. I want museums. I'm going to save just to be safe. So usually the process when you're running a search or building a list is to do a count report. And there are some basic options. That's usually what I show in my examples. I keep it very simple. We like simple, right, Skylar? Not want to confuse people, especially when you're starting out on building your list. So here, I usually go with breakdown by geography. It tells me a total per state of those businesses. But in this case, I want to find out if archaeologists work here. And so without selecting titles, I can output the titles. So I want to see, I'm going to run a 2-dimensional report and then a 3-dimensional. So on the 2-dimensional, I'm going to follow my lightning bolts. I'm going to select those SIC codes because that's our primary breakdown. And then I want to see what titles there are at those businesses to see where can I find an archaeologist. So what you would pick, you would think it'd be titles, but this is why we do lives and share details. Do you remember what it is, Skylar, or no, off the top of your head? If not,
no, it's been
okay,
a while.
because you've been doing marketing for so long, and that's okay. I appreciate all the content you give to us, so I'm going to share. It's MRC codes. On Data Axle, it'll be a title. Here, it's an MRC code. So I'm going to select that. That way you have a little tidbit of knowledge there to use in the future when you're building your own list. So I'm going to put here SIC and title. You can see it already pulls up. I've done this. And run this report. Now I want to see by state how many there are. I'm going to make a copy of this search, which is so convenient. If you have one search and you need to run it a few different ways to see what is available on the output, use that copy button. So here I'm going to run a count report, and I'm going to do a 3-dimensional. And next step, and here I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to pick my geo first. I'm going to do state. Now this is way more easy when you have a few zip codes or a few states. This is everybody, so it won't be too big. I know that already. Then I'm going to pick SIC code, and then I'm going to pick title, MRC code. So again, this helps you to find what you're looking for if you can't find it initially. That's usually when I use a 2- or 3-dimensional report. Skylar, can you share when you have used 2- and 3-dimensionals in your experience?
Yeah, I mean, a couple examples come to mind. We use them for auto data a lot. Sometimes you'll have a dealership who like all Jeeps. So you can break it down by your 2- and 3-dimensional report to find out which exact makes and models and what years, which really helps with marketing to know exactly who your audience is. And the other way that I've used it is with languages. We've tried to find people who speak a smaller language from a country, and so sometimes that doesn't always show up. So we took the main country's language and that smaller language and tried to see the breakdown per area in the state to see where those people actually were.
Perfect. And that can work. And again, too, yeah, you can output all the languages and see who is where, right? Is that what you guys did?
Yep. Yeah.
Perfect. You can find pockets then where you need to be.
Yeah, and since you're running over the whole state, we can then target our, we can pay for the right list that way and save money and accuracy better.
Exactly, because when you're wanting to get not only the right list, but make sure it's the most bang for the buck and the detail you need. I guess depending on you, what list you're looking for, that determines what makes it right. But for you, for that search,
Yes.
I exactly understand that.
Having the 2- and 3-dimensional reports gives you the most information so that you can figure out what is the right list or what you actually need.
Yes. Find the sweet spot where those, like I said, where the pockets are. Okay, so here on, I didn't go to my email because I didn't want to pull this up in my email. Under your previous searches, you can see the breakdown. Once you run a report, it gives you so many different ways to look at this information and gather what you need. So here it's showing the first SIC code, museums and art galleries, which is kind of a bigger umbrella. I want to say if I scroll down, historical societies. Okay, you would think with something like this, there might be archaeologists, because I know there's archaeological societies. But this gives us the output of every title available under that SIC code by state, which I'll show in a minute. So you can search through here. Another awesome feature too, on the Excel report you get in your email for your count report, you could search and start typing in archaeologists. But if we scroll down through here, I was surprised at some of the titles. That's the other nerd magic that I like, is when you open the back door to look into things, it's funny what you see. So that's always interesting to me. What other titles did I not expect to see at a museum that are there? So I'll tell you right now, archaeologist is not here. Architect is. And so when I put in the ARC, when I was doing my search, that's what came up. But archaeologists aren't here. So I have to move to a different file, and I'll cover that next. But I also want to share. So this is easy to look at. This just gives you the SIC code and then the list of titles. This is exactly what your Excel sheet will look like in your email. I'm going to come in here real quick and do by state. Here, it breaks down state by state, title by title, which is very handy to make sure I'm not missing what I'm looking for. So this goes both ways. Research to try to find what you need, or excluding different things you don't need. It goes both ways. Is that a good way to explain it, you think, Skylar, a fair way?
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. So in this case, did my research, ran my reports, and I realized, okay, this is not where I need to be. That's when you would come back to start a new search. And we're going to go to Data Axle. And I'll show this really quickly so that we can get to the point of application, how this benefits you. So let me go to business type, SIC code, and I'm going to do a lookup and type it in. I'm going to use what I already typed in search. Boom. Here we go. So we have these supplies archaeologists might need. That's not what I'm looking for. But here, under non-commercial research organizations. So it's still, let me go to the tree. I want to share this on the tree. Another tip too with that lookup is phone number. If you know and have a phone number, that's very powerful too to type that in. It was 8733 here. And look at this. This breaks it down a lot more than the other business file did. It has archaeologists. These are all things. Again, my knowledge of archaeologists is based on movies I've seen. These all seem to go together.
Yes.
What's the Sesame Street song? One of these things is not like the other. These things are all what I expected to see here, especially like paleontologist. Absolutely. Archaeologist, geothermal exploration. So here we have exactly what we're looking for. And my Adobe has decided to pop up. You can't see that, can you?
Nope, you're good.
When sharing a screen, make sure you know what you're sharing. I see it here. So hopefully these details have helped. And you can think of other scenarios. Skylar gave us a good example with the automotive. I've done this before in past live data roundtables where I outputted occupation. We're trying to find people who had a certain job. I think it was truck driver, because truck drivers are not a business they don't have an SIC code on the business file. The company they might work for, but if we want to reach people who have a job. So I ran the occupation file and output everything to find the number, the job code number I needed. Boom, I got it. So again, that backdoor research option to find what you're looking for. Off the top of your head, Skylar, not to put you on the spot, can you think of anything else why you might want to use a 2 or 3 dimensional report? No, I put her on the spot, guys.
It's nice to know what information is available. Yes. And it's not a difficult thing to do to get information. So sometimes even if you're just curious, it's a good thing to look at.
And when you start working here, usually we want our employees all to be familiar with national list counts. That's mainly what you do. That's how I learned. I was putting in who else in my neighborhood looks like our family. So I would pick all the consumer selects that described our family and then see who else looks like that. So
yep, I did that too.
Did you? Yeah.
Yes.
Playing around with it. Or hey, I drive this car. How many of these cars are there out there in my area? Let me run this. So yeah, teaching yourself using things you're familiar with to get started, very powerful. And because time is invested, but no money is spent until you click order and put in your credit card. So I love that you can get on here, build your own list. Customers even come here, new people who are trying this out, that we've had them sign up for this at nationallistcounts.com. You can go and if I wasn't in here, let me log out and show what it looks like. You'd come here and register now. That's as simple as it is. It's free. There's no cost till you buy something. But even when you're learning and you're not sure you picked the right things, guess what me and Skylar and anybody else here on our team can do?
We can help you figure it out.
Yeah, you can email us, attach your count report and say, hey, I ran this count. Can you tell me if I'm on the right track? I want this, this, and this. Are these the right selects? We're here for you. And because we have access, we can log in as you. Even if you don't send it to us, just say, hey, I ran this, or can you help me? Yeah, let me log in as you. Let me go take a look. I'm on this. So Skylar, since you're a marketing master here, can you share with us what we can do with this list once we get this? What are some marketing techniques or application of this that we can make this real and usable for anybody watching this?
I like what you said earlier about how the goal is to reach people. And that's the same with the marketing aspect of it too. That's just the execution part of the reaching people. So from my background with content and more with digital marketing aspect side of things, it's extremely helpful to understand who your audience is. That's your foundation piece. So, and also personalization. So you need to know who they are very on a personal level. And you can't do that if you don't know where they are or what other demographics you need. So you can take an account like this and say, I have all of the zoologists or archaeologists from the country, and you can figure out where they are and what other things you might need to know about them, and you can change your marketing based on that information, which will give you the best data to work with, and therefore also saves you money and gives you the right tools to work with as you're planning out your campaign.
Yes, and I shouldn't have logged out. I was going to see how many of those have an email. So usually you're going to have a name and address, and since you're on the business file, we would find them at their place of business, whether they are a researcher. I was looking this up for a little more information. Some are consultants for universities, museums. They're not employed by them. So they are their own business. Let me log in and share that, because how you can reach them definitely affects your execution on this, right?
Yes, yeah. And having those emails available right away is super helpful, because that saves you a whole step. You can then figure out, you just can go directly to them.
And for those that we don't have it on, we have a phone number and a contact name. So you can call, connect, and then say, by the way, can I grab your email? I want to send some valuable information to you. So that's always, let me pull it up here. I'm working on my sidebar. I didn't want to share my screen again because it's a lot of screen time. Let me type this in, archaeologist. And see, I know for this particular search that we did, they were looking to do a mailing campaign. So there's going to be an address on all of these. Contact and phone. Let me see here.
Yeah, that's a way we've used the breakdown reports in the past as well, because you don't, with a direct mail campaign, it can be expensive. So if you try to send to whole statewide regions when there's some people in some counties that don't match your criteria at all, then that's gonna cost you more.
Exactly. So for 100% telephones and contacts, we have 243. Let me see how many show up with telephone and contact where available. Because sometimes you don't need a name. All you got to do is call and say, hey, who's your resident archaeologist? They're not going to have too many.
That's true.
It depends, again, on who you're looking for. And then I'm going to take off phone and contact altogether and see how many had an email, because I'm curious about this. Execution is everything. What's your plan to reach people? Email. Let's narrow this down.
It goes both ways. You can start with having a plan on how you want to reach people, and then that's kind of how you decide what data to look for, but also you can run counts reports to figure out what data is available, and then you can go that way as well.
Exactly. Here, I'll share this real quick. So I came over here and put in email 79, had an email available out of our archaeologist pool. So again, I would think it depends on where they're being employed at, where are we reaching out to? Because some places are a little bit more private with their information, especially maybe a university or something like that. To find specific university information, that is an offline file. That is very valuable information and very specific in specialty. So we can get that, but that's not most likely what's on here. So I hope we didn't, I don't think we nerd magicked it too much. We didn't get too deep into this, but I want to share how you can use the tools on National List Counts to really customize your search and get, again, it's always about getting the right list and the information you need for your execution, for your plan. Skylar, you want to tell them where they can find us? Obviously, I'll be quick on this one. You can always find replays of this on our YouTube at National List Services, that site. So definitely go check them out.
Yes, and we have other videos there too, so subscribe.
Yes, thank you. I always forget to say that, Skylar. That's why she is our marketing expert. Definitely. Let me stop sharing this screen. There we go. And in the chat, I'm going to put my email directly because I am always available. First Direct Marketing, and I can spell that, but not archaeologist. And if you want to sign up, like I said, go to nationallistcounts.com and register. We also have an amazing video learning center, and that is, where can we find that? That's at
start.nationallistcounts.com.
nationallistcounts with an s.com. Perfect. If you go there, that will have you watch a few videos. You'll meet Joel, our president, talk about data, talk about execution, pump you up to get started learning. And I always preface, do not watch all 40 plus videos in one sitting. Find the file you're interested in, whether it's business, consumer, real property, whatever it is. Watch the video that applies to you. Don't watch them all. Have you ever sat and done that? Binge watch something too much and you're like, that wasn't helpful at all, now I'm confused.
Especially with trying to learn how to do something. If you try and do it all at once, you're probably not going to be able to follow through.
There's a reason Bob Vila covered one topic on his shows when he did videos to instruct you what to do. Don't overwhelm them. Start with one thing. So start.nationallistcounts.com. Go there. And there's even a video on how to register. So if you're overwhelmed and don't know what to do on National List Counts site, register for the Learn Center, watch the videos, get a little more information, watch me do it, and then you can duplicate. I love having I have one big screen here at home. I have two. And when I do stuff, I play it on one computer screen and then duplicate it on the other. It helps tremendously. Yes. Skylar, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And let us know anything we can do to help you with your campaign. We're here for you.
Yes.
We're going to check out and end our live.